I'm WG. The new season starts on the 12th. Haru's banner itself only lasts 3 days and 1 hour, which obviously begs the question, should you summon now before it disappears? So let's first talk about something that is very important to all of you, and that is your pity will carry over. Whatever pity you're currently on, it's going to carry over into the next banner. So for example, for me personally, as you can see right here, it's going to change from a guaranteed Haru within 42 to guaranteed Yuki within 42. The same is also true for the fact that the partner banner rate is gonna stay the same should you summon any on the partner banner, and both Haru and the partner are going to move into the standard pool as far as we can tell the moment the banner ends. The banner disappears, boom, Haru goes into the standard pool and the partner goes into the partner pool. That also means that if you don't want Haru, summoning your standard summons now gives you a higher chance of getting a non-Haru. That also has to do with the selector. You can see it right here. For me, it's not there anymore, but there is still a chance, they haven't talked about it, that Haru goes from her banner into the selector, though there's no guarantees and we don't have any concrete information on if it is just the standard fixed 10 or if it's going to improve in the future. We'll basically have our confirmation by the time Haru's banner ends. So now that we have these basics out of the way, let's give you a quick rundown of who Haru and who Yuki are, just so we have a foundation to properly talk about. So Haru is going to be a striker justice element with a main single target focus and a slight AoE focus. What she really is pretty good in is stacking up this anchor shot. This is her main damage card, whereas the anchor pointer is her main damage engine. You can then pretty much have one anchor shot and get it into your hand as many times as possible. And you can also notice her cost being at 2, so she has that ability to proc heaven cards due to her using the two cost cards. And then she also has multiple tools to increase her own or even potentially team-wide attack damage, with even her potential being focused around the anchor shot, as well as even that final potential doing so on top. Yuki, on the other hand, is a AoE focused unit with slight single target capabilities due to certain epiphanies having the chance to give you that, but this is what Yuki is. So Yuki is a order striker. You can see obviously also the color by the card border. So she's going to be a order striker with a focus around AoE and also self card draw and this inspiration mechanic, which just means upon drawing this card with an ability, the effect triggers, like for example extra hits or extra damage bonuses and the like. So it is a single target with slight AoE versus AoE with slight single target. That is the baseline comparison. Whereas Haru naturally has that synergy between her and heaven cards, there is nothing pointing towards Yuki having similar capabilities, even the opposite, with her having a 2-cost card, but you're usually most of the time going to play that 2-cost at either 1 or 0 cost, so there is no heaven synergy. And that then also brings us to what we can tell about the partner banner. So the partner banner for Asteria herself as a partner is going to be pretty much for the most part for now limited to Haru. Yes, you can to a degree, to an effect, run her with other units, but she is mainly focused on that 2-cost and higher niche, as well as also the pulverize. So there is no other character currently with like a 2-cost and pulverize that could like properly take advantage of this while also being a striker. So Asteria is mainly going to stay with Haru for now, whereas the partner that is for Yuki is going to be a bit more broadly applicable in that it is a striker partner that focuses on attack cards being drawn by abilities which can be achieved from multiple other strikers in the game, and then this inspiration part, mainly besides some common cards, refers to Yuki specifically, but then you also have this useful effect in moving one card from hand to the draw pile, which weirdly enough doesn't really work for most characters unless you want to move it to the dropper and then use like some near synergy. So this character skill itself at least isn't as broadly applicable. On the other hand, at least the Light of Arc ego skill is pretty much applicable to any striker due to it being somewhat generic in what it does. So what you should take away from this is that both partner banner are pretty much going to be a bit more in exclusive use for their respective combatants in Haru versus Yuki. So what that leaves us with is now the final talk. We cannot do too much about Yuki. We still get the full kit in the remaining next days to do a more deeper dive. But for now, let's have a look at Haru. Let's talk about Haru's value, and let's also see about Haru's ego, right? Because Haru's ego manifestations, the ability to get Haru copies, is currently at an all-time high. Then again, if you've paid attention during the Season 1 livestream, you're already going to know that you will be able to buy yourself at minimum one free ego copy, ego manifestation that is applicable to any character through the seasonal shop. And that is going to be fine. Seasonal shop as in you use season currency, not paid. So yeah, that is Haru. So even if you were, for example, to be very convinced by her epiphanies, you're still going to be able to get those later down the line. So even if you don't pull her, you can always just work on these epiphanies or on these ego skills. Now, what are these ego skills specifically? First off, we have the change for Lift Anchor, which is her purple card, going from a plus 70 to a plus 100% damage, which is honestly on the average. And every E1 for 5 stars in this entire game is a card that buffs the character specific card. And with character specific card, I'm talking about the purple card, right? The card that doesn't have an epiphany. That one is always going to get boosted by the E1, so it's pretty standard, pretty straightforward. But with the E2, we are already getting a pretty big banger. So Anchor Shot, which is your main damage source, can be used without sufficient cost. What that means is, alright, let's set ourselves an example. We're going to assume Anchor Shot is going to be dealing 400% damage. Then what this says is that for every remaining AP of the cost that you don't have, you're going to reduce the damage by 40%. This is a multiplicative reduction, not a additive one, meaning that if we take our example at 400%, we are not subtracting just 40, putting it to 360. No, we're taking 40% away, which equals to, I think, 160%. So 160% is what we're taking away, meaning that leaves us with 240% damage left. Whereas then, so for example, if the Anchor Shot costs us 2, we have 1 AP, we play it, we lose 160% on a 400% example. And then if we have no AP at all and it's a 2 base cost, then it's going to actually cost us 80% of the damage, meaning from the original 400%, only 80% are left over. But the very important part here is there is no limit to how often this is applicable. And that also means that so long as you can get an Anchor Shot into your hand, you will always be able to play it. There is one important interaction to note here though, and that is if you boost a Anchor Shot's cost with the Lift Anchor, it is actually going to reduce the damage to 0. Because it's 120%, meaning that if you have a 3 cost Anchor Shot, you're not going to be able to deal any damage with it, even though you can play it, which can still at least help with stacking the buff. And that's another positive of this one, and that is even though the Anchor Shot itself deals less damage, it still works on boosting the next further Anchor Shots that you're going to be using. So that is the E2. The E3 isn't as exciting in that you get 100% extra damage, so from the base 350 up to 450 single target, and you're also going to increase the damage per beneficial effect from 50% to 70%. Quick example is you have a fortitude, you have a morale buff, and that means that instead of plus 100% through 2 buffs, you're getting plus 140%, which means that, for example, at 2 buffs, this skill would be dealing 590%. So that is the E3, and now we're already leaving reasonable territory, right? If we're going past E3, you either get very lucky or you have the means to get there, right? So we're still going to talk about it just as potentially even like a future goal, something to work towards in multiple seasons. Obviously, there's no expectation whatsoever for any of you to actually make it here. But what do you gain? So we have the inner memory. Whenever Haru uses an anchor shot card, gain 1 power supply. This one increases Haru's attack card damage by 20%. So after 3 anchor shots used, you get a further 60% damage to any of her attack cards. And then we have the E5, which is by far the weakest. The E5 for every 5-star character only boosts the basic, neutral, and unique card damage by a total of 6% each, due to each upgrade giving plus 2%. And then you have the last one, the fabled E6, the true pinnacle of what she can do. And that is the damage reduction for anchor shot used with insufficient HP is changed to 20%. So what that means, our 400% example, right? After the first one, you're actually only subtracting 80%. So instead of 160, it's now down to 80. So instead of 400, you do 320%. With missing 2 AP, all of a sudden, instead of dealing that much less damage, you're now only losing the original 160. So you would still be at 240% at 0 AP cost. And then even in the anchor shot example with the bonus, so making it a 3 cost, you're still only losing 60%, which means that you're only losing 240% damage. So that is the E6. Overall, you can probably already tell or guess by my explanation towards it, Haru's E2 is definitely one of the strongest in the game, but then again, at least as of this moment, with the state of the game, with the state of decks and the way you can build decks, I don't see a reason whatsoever to actively have to go for the E2. Yes, the E2 is very nice. Yes, it increases your damage, but by no means is it a requirement for Haru to be a good character. So once again, let's bring it back to our standard conclusion that I hope we can maintain as long as possible, and that is, you should only truly summon for Haru if you enjoy her. If you like the concept of a schoolgirl whipping a ton anchor and hitting people over the head with it, the ability to attack, pull that attack back, attack again, pull it back, attack again. If that is for you, Haru is for you. If not, you can look for Yuki. Even if Yuki isn't your cup of tea, keep in mind we are getting 3 characters in the new season, so one of them might just be exactly the character for you, where you could then, even by not summoning, go for more of these future copies, more of these resources. And we haven't even seen the full Yuki kit yet, in that we're missing 2 full epiphanies, and we're also missing the ego manifestations. So that is, honestly, I think everything I could give you along the way in regards to this banner. I hope it was able to at least calm you down a little bit in regards to how the pity works, and if you do and don't need a character. And if you think I was missing anything or anything like that, feel free to let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to improve upon it next time. And it's been a fun 2 weeks, and we see each other in the next one until eternity. Well, maybe not, maybe yes. We shall see. Peace.